Welcome to the inspiration for today's project, Earth. Earth has so many awesome places that inspire artists. Yosemite Valley inspired someone to paint this amazing view. This type of artwork is called a landscape. A landscape's main focus is the land. Often it is a natural scenery. For example, mountains, deserts, farms, rivers, or lakes. Often it is a big or wide view. They can include buildings, people, and animals, but the scenery is usually the star of the picture. There are also some special variations of landscapes, including seascapes, where the focus is on the ocean, and cityscapes, or urban landscapes, with houses, streets, and skyscrapers. They all have scenery as the main focus of the picture. Artists sometimes sit outside and paint the view they see. This is called plein air painting. Sometimes they take a picture and paint it later. Notice, as an artist, you can change it however you want. Here they added chimneys and put a tree on a grassy field. Sometimes artists create wonderful imaginary landscapes, like these. One trick artists use to show space and distance is to think about the different parts of the landscape: the foreground, middle ground, and background. Look at this painting. The foreground includes the things closest to us. Usually they're at the bottom, like these green grasses. Since they're closer, they usually appear bigger and more detailed. The background includes the things farthest from us. Usually they're higher up on the paper, like this sky, house, green fields, and super small hay rolls. Since they're so far away, they're often smaller, less detailed, and sometimes blurry. The middle ground is the things in between the foreground and the background. Here, it would be the bigger hay rolls. They aren't as detailed as the foreground, but they're not as small and blurry as the background. Let's look at this landscape. If I want to add a tree to the foreground, I'd put it here. You can even see the apples on it. If I want to add the same tree to the middle ground, I'd put it higher on the paper, smaller, and less detailed. You won't see the apple. If I want to add the tree to the background, you might just see a speck. Notice that some things may cross over different zones. For instance, this road is in the foreground, middle ground, and background. See how it's bigger in the foreground or bottom of the paper and smaller in the background, just like the trees. This is known as perspective. Not all landscapes follow these tricks. For instance, this one doesn't really have different sizes, but having the distinct foreground, middle ground, and background help you see the flowers are closest to us. When people look at an artwork, they may label the parts of the landscape a little different, since often there are lots of things to see, but that is okay. Thinking of foreground, middle ground, and background help us see what's closer and farther away from us. And now we invite you to create your own landscape art. It could be some view of a desert, mountains, or lake, or some sort of building like a castle, farm, house, or cityscape. Even a landscape from a video game or your imagination. You could do something showing perspective like this road, or something that shows off foreground, middle ground, and background like the flowers by the sea. For this project, you have two options. You can design your own and just go for it. Or you could follow some step-by-step landscapes that we have at the end of this video. There are 5 landscape scenes. You can pick one and use it to help you get going. You're always free to vary it as you wish. Now for some tips. First, start with a pencil and draw lightly so you can erase and adjust. Start without a lot of detail so you can move things around or resize easily if you need to. Then add the finer details after. Have fun creating your landscape. If you're doing your own thing, you can stop this video now. If you want to see the step-by-step scenes, they're coming up next. This video has very short segments for each scene in the following order: desert, farm, house, lake, and then the park. Listen to the segment you are interested in. There'll be some tips. Then pause the video to keep the image on the screen for you to reference. You are welcome to use fast forward or rewind to get to the scenes you're interested in. And feel free to alter or combine as you wish. For example, putting the lake, cactus, and fence in a scene together. Change the house to a castle or add a volcano in the background. This is your art. Now let's begin. The desert. Let's start with the foreground, the things closest to us. Start at the bottom of the page. Here we put big rocks, a big cactus, and a shrub. Some other ideas might be to change it to have all rocks, or to add a lizard, or a bunny, or more cactus. The middle ground is a little farther back. Here we added small hills, smaller cactus, and a turtle. Other ideas might be more small cactus, shrubs, a fox, a pyramid, and more rocks. The background. Here we added some mesas or tabletop mountains. You can keep it flat and just have a big sky, or add other cool rock formations, or a super small pyramid way off in the distance. Now add any extra details you want. We added a tent, prickles on the cactus, and more hills. Color and decorate in as you wish. The farm. Let's start with the foreground, the things closest to us. We are just going to have regular grass in front of ours, so there's just a few grass marks to use as a guide. Other variations might be to put a fence there, or shrubs, or even move the barn to the foreground. The middle ground is a little farther back. Here we added the barn and a fence. You could add farm animals or rows of corn growing. Keep it simple for now though, so you can adjust it if you want later. For the background, we added rolling hills with lines for the various crops and a mini tractor. Other things might be a mini windmill or a small fence or another barn off in the distance. Now add any extra details you want. We added a cow, tree, a little hay, and sun. Color and decorate in as you wish. The house. Let's start with the foreground, the things closest to us. We're just going to have a fence in front, but with an opening for a walkway. Other variations might be a sidewalk going from left to right, or plain grass like the farm, shrubs, flowers, or even a dog. The middle ground is a little farther back. Here we added a simple house and some rows where we hope to add a garden. Other ideas might be a more modern-looking house, or houses, or a castle, pool, or trees. Keep it simple for now though, so you can adjust it if you want later. For the background, we added a rolling hill and clouds. Other variations would be trees, or a small fence, mountains. Now, add any extra details you want. We added details to the house, some plants in the garden, and a bird feeder. Color and decorate as you wish. The lake. Let's start with the foreground, the things closest to us. We're just going to have some boulders and shrubs, and a few flowers. Other variations could be all flowers, a bear looking toward the scene below, a railing like you're at a viewpoint on a hike. The middle ground is a little farther back. Here we added a lake shape. You can make it a river instead, or a meadow by just keeping it empty and coloring it in green later. For the background, we added some pointy mountains. Other variations could be trees or rolling hills. Now, add any extra details you want. We added boats on the lake, made the hills more jagged looking, added some big rocks to the side of the lake, and a few pine trees here and there. Color and decorate as you wish. The park. Let's start with the foreground, the things closest to us. We are just adding 2 big trees. Notice their bases at the bottom of the page, making them appear close to us even though their leaves are high up on the page. Other variations might be to just have grass at the bottom, or flowers, or a squirrel and some rocks. The middle ground is a little farther back. Here we added swings and a small slide. You could add a big play structure, park benches or picnic tables, basketball court, walkways. For the background, we added a slight rolling hill and a row of houses. Other variations could be plain hills, or mountains, or trees. Now, add any extra details you want. We added a hammock, a park sign, a river, details on the houses, and some birds in the sky. Color and decorate as you wish.